What feels like a normal thing to do/say but is illegal? It's not illegal everywhere, but feeding a parking meter that is not yours is illegal here. Wow, really? That's weird. It's not. They want it to expire. They may weigh more money off the ticket than they ever would from a quarter. Most forms of traffic law enforcement are really little more than money-making schemes. Edit. Alright, honest to fucking God. Shut the hell up about the stupid parking meters. The hell is wrong with you people? This isn't a conversation. That edit Lamau. Where's here? Right over there. Having weed while driving between two states that have legal weed. Buying weed at a legit store in a decriminalized city in an illegal state. Also, it still feels illegal to buy weed at a legit store in a legal state, too. Because technically it is. Federal law trumps state law, so the feds could still bust you. Yep, if I were to drive from New York, where it's legal, to Massachusetts, where it's also legal, then I can still be busted since crossing state lines with an illegal substance is a federal offense. You don't even need to cross state lines since it's still illegal federally anyway. It's illegal to say, I want to kill the President of the United States of America. It's illegal. It's a federal offense. It's one of the only sentences that you're not allowed to say. Now, it was okay for me to say it right then. Because, I was just telling you that it's illegal to say, I want to kill the President of the United States of America. However, it is not illegal to say, with a mortar launcher. Two completely different sentences. It's really more of a tube than a launcher. Maybe that's beside the point. So add in Minecraft at the end. My AI said. Cohabitation is illegal in Mississippi and Michigan unless you're married. What, really? So you can't have roommates? I think in legal terms cohabitation implies you're banging or in an intimate relationship. So, lie? Or just don't tell anyone who doesn't need to know? Are the cops going to come to your house and ask if you're having sex with your roommate? We actually just repealed our cohabitation prohibition law this year. Nice. Welcome to 1978. In the UK back when CDs and MP3 players were popular, it was illegal to copy music from a CD into a different format. It's still illegal, but it's not as common to do now. You could back up the actual CD in its original file format, but if you changed it to MP3, it became illegal. It was essentially an outdated copyright law. It meant that a company could potentially sue someone over it. But nobody cared as it was obvious that nobody would want the bad press from such a pointless lawsuit. Plus the law would likely be changed if it were actually used like that. You wouldn't download a car. I love this line from a comedian when he said, yeah, wouldn't steal a car, but if my friend bought a new Mustang and offered to burn me a copy, I'd have to consider it. What if you could steal someone's car but they'd still have it? That was my first thought too. Also, if I remember correctly, when VHS tapes first became popular, people were worried about the copyright laws if someone recorded a film that was shown on TV, so the law was that you could only keep said recording for a certain amount of time. Can't remember how long now, but of course there was no way that could ever be enforced. People's recordings also became important after the BBC decided to tape over the only copies of a load of Doctor Who episodes. Parking your car on your own property. Unless it's paved they give you a ticket. The city of North Little Rock are issued my van 67 tickets. All from same asshole, but none of them had a court date. Sounds like this isn't actually illegal and some cop just hates you lol. It's not illegal, at least in many states. My husband has a lot of cars and keeps one behind the house and one on his parents' lawn for now since our property is strange. Nobody cares. Nobody says it's wrong. My mother works for the city and she didn't even say anything about it. Just that my lawn got a little long and needed it to be cut before I got fined. Wait, in the land of the free you can get fined for letting your grass get a bit long? Because they knew most judges would look at that and say yeah, no. Pay $50 and get your vehicle to a paved area. Did you have to pay any of them? Handling salmon under suspicious circumstances is illegal here in the UK. I don't think you could be reasonably charged with anything unless they actually found something illegal you were doing with the salmon. But the handling itself is something you can be arrested for. Is that ing fish Jenga? No. Right, carry on them. Also illegal to shake off a carpet outside after 8 a.m. But strangely it is still legal to shoot a Scotsman inside the walls of York with a longbow. No, that's wrong. It's legal to murder a Scotsman inside York if he is wielding the bow and arrows, but not on Sundays. Haggis and Kinder eggs being illegal in the US. Okay, tell me more about the haggis please. Is it illegal to make, sell, transport? All of the above? I'm confused because I thought I'd seen it at Scottish festivals. Also, My husband's Scottish nan gave us haggis in a tin, which was then brought to the US. Was that illegal? What you see at festivals isn't real haggis, and what bringing it in the tin was illegal. I begged my cousin to bring some back. Only if you don't declare it. I bring food back from Italy all the time. Processed and canned goods? Not a problem. Fresh fruit or raw meat? Problem. They're worried about things like Mediterranean fruit flies. Why are Kinder eggs illegal? A non-food item inside a food item. Collecting rainwater. This is so weird. Where I live, NSW, Australia, it's the law for any new house to have a rainwater tank installed as part of the development. And if you're thinking of adding one to an existing house, you can get a government grant to help offset the cost. You'd be surprised. They were illegal not that long ago. How is this illegal? Edit. Wow, lots of feedback. Like all laws everywhere, because some jackass went too far and ruined it for everyone. You are thinking of some normal person who has a water container connected to his drainpipe and collects some rainwater to later use for gardening and shit. Yes, because that's how normal people would act. But there have been cases of people who had an entire network in place where they basically drained all the water from the aquifer for industrial farming and caused a drought in his area. And it's really hard to write a law that makes one illegal and the other not. So now nobody can do it anymore. But also, if you just collect some rain to water your plants, nobody will come arrest you. It's not enforced to stop normal people. Jaywalking. I'm not going to walk 5 minutes down the road when I can simply cross the street in a couple seconds. Edit. To my beloved Europeans across the sea. Yes, you have better cross-walking laws and I am jealous. And to my fellow Americans wishing me harm. That's not surprising. Ah yes, me crossing an empty street with no cars in the distance is the real problem. There couldn't possibly be anything else more dangerous than that, right? It's legal in most countries. In Czechia it's kinda a gray sector of legality. Jaywalking is illegal here only if you jaywalk less than 50 meters from a crosswalk. This actually seems very reasonable. I'm not falling for this. At least I know my FBI agent's username now. You guys ever think that instead of the cops, it's Family Feud that's making these posts? And, survey says. Always wondered what weird-ass frickin' people they surveyed, coming up with some of those top answers. Damn. Naked grandma. If two 17-year-olds send each other NSFW pictures in private, it can be classified as child pornography. I get why this sounds weird. But at the same time, eventually those 17-year-olds will be 18, 19, 20, 30, etc. And could still potentially be holding onto that picture of a naked 17-year-old. If they got caught with that, would it count against them? I'd initially think so. Plus there's the potential for them to share the images and it getting to older people. I think making it illegal overall is the best route. Still not gonna stop kids from being kids. Yes, that would be considered possession of child porn. Lawyer here. One of my friends handled such a case. They pled out, probation and deletion of the identity materials. What an ordeal though. Do you know how this would play out for the parent of the child? E.g., I'm the parent of a 17-year-old girl. She takes nude photos, sends them to her boyfriend via whatever cloud storage they're using. And it's my account she's using. Am I on the hook for CP? Or is it different since it's my child? Or does the fact that my daughter sent it to someone change things? Sorry for all the questions. Lol, my mind just kept going. Drinking a beer in the park. What country? Why on earth would this be illegal? Edit. Okay, turns out most countries except mine. Cue best jingoist voice. Angerland. In the United States, having an open container in most parks, or publicly owned places is illegal. Bahaha, land of the free. Same here in Canada. But in my province, BC, it is legal to use what were once illegal drugs in public. A couple of politicians staged a mini protest by setting up a couple of lawn chairs on public property and cracked a couple of beers. System is whack. Man, ha. The beach in Penticton allows us to have alcohol and drink. Sleeping in your car. What about sleeping in somebody else's car? Can confirm. My mom can open anything locked. Used to be homeless and was arrested for sleeping in someone else's car once. Her excuse was, but I didn't take anything. I even left $5 in the console. It's tough out here. Mom's a badass. I assume it depends where the car is parked. If it's on your own property you can likely do that. But then again, if you own property, I don't think a lot of people are sleeping in their car. Not if you have an HOA. I don't have an HOA, but I still think my neighbors would call the cops. Although highly frowned upon, it is not illegal to call a toddler an asshole. My mom got after my brother and I for calling my daughter an asshole. We never cussed at you all for being toddlers. Well, you missed out. Ma, it's real cathartic. Can get dangerous when your toddler starts repeating those things back to you. I've had it happen. Yep, my niece told the family dog to move the fuck out of the way. She's 4. I've never laughed so hard, ha. Up until 2 years ago, paying for other people's fuel was illegal here. There really are just a bunch of laws and ordinances to stomp out any kindness towards the less fortunate. Not so long ago, there were news about an old lady who got arrested for feeding the homeless, which apparently was illegal in that state. Makes you think, huh? Yep, a 78-year-old woman in Bullhead, Arizona was arrested for feeding the homeless in October 2022. Where is here? Smoke weed. I live in Sweden. We sharpened our laws 4 days ago. 1 joint equals 6 months. Shit for real? I'm in Norway and I think it's starting to get more accepted. Still illegal, but people just care less. But 6 months if you get caught with 1 joint is fucking crazy. Boy, you guys are really policing up the important problems, lol. In America, loitering. America really banned hanging out. After slavery ended in the States, the prison population exploded mostly from black guys being thrown in jail for simply loitering. What else are they going to do as recently free men with nothing? There was the free labor again, just controlled by the state. Chain gangs. I'm pretty sure a lot of loitering, jaywalking, etc. laws originated as walking while poor, walking while black laws. Obtain a position in a government public office. Become a politician. Then use your position to funnel public funds into private matters without following proper procedures. Lying, cheating, rorting, misuse of government property and or money. Truman's quote, "Show me a man that gets rich by being a politician, and I'll show you a crook." No, I would say this definitely feels illegal. Yet a disturbingly large number of public officials seem to do it on the regular. Smoking crack while driving 172 miles per hour. You should never exceed 170 while smoking crack. Callus shavers. They're illegal in many states due to the high risk of causing infections. Got a pedicure in Turkey once and never again. I'm pretty sure they sterilized the knife they used to cut calluses by wiping it on their shirt. Cellulitis is no joke. You'd have grounds for a lawsuit here in the States, but I'd bet they wouldn't be held accountable there. Wait, what? Torrenting movies. This is the new drug war. It's basically impossible to enforce in any meaningful way, and, whether for ill or for good, the public has decided that's just what we do now. There's not a force on earth that can stop it. In Germany, the only telecoms company reports you for this. Then you get fined. Bullshit. They might hand over data if some copyright owner can convince a judge that it is needed. I've been torrenting shit for the past 20 years in Germany and never had a problem. I don't know about normal, but US prostitution versus porn laws are weird. No camera equals prostitution and illegal. Camera equals porn and legal. Such a massive porn industry. And consumers. But prostitution. Completely backwards approaches. Fact, they have vice squads focused on catching pros and johns. Versus putting that energy into child trafficking or about 1,000 other things that would be more important than 2 consenting adults. In my country, burning the country's flag. That's probably true in many countries. Aha! The US finally wins at something. USA, USA. In the US, collecting feathers you find on the ground outside. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918 prohibits people from possessing native birds, their feathers, eggs or any parts of them, so you potentially could be arrested to picking up a feather. A few years ago, a family member got a federal citation for possession feathers from a road-killed hawk. Fortunately, she was able to get it dismissed. Your local fish and game wardens and or local police usually have much more important things to do than knock down doors looking for people who possess feathers. I don't know how your family member got so unlucky as to be found with them. LOL. We have a lot of wild turkeys in my area. I have a feather from one that I found in my yard. I'm expecting them to come knocking at my door any time now. Ironically, in season, you are allowed to kill turkeys. Yet I still cannot keep the feather. Not realizing there was anything illegal, as the hawk was already dead. She had the feathers in the back window of her car. Getting on a plane and seeing your friend Jack, then shouting out, "Hi Jack." Going through a person's phone without permission. I'd give it's normal, but my ex always went through my phone at night when I was sleeping and his baby mama's phone as well. When she'd come over. Illegal as FCK though. Did you give them your phone password or something? How were they able to do that? That really should never be normal. Doing safe drugs such as psilocybin or LSD. They're safer than legal substances like alcohol and tobacco, but they're illegal because of racism and the war on drugs. What does racism have to do with it? Legitimate question. I'm genuinely confused. I just know that the hunt for weed was highly motivated by the cops and politicians at the times because they disliked black people and saw them as the source of the evil weed. Laws technically apply to everyone, but people look away when a white person does the same crime or ignore it completely. Another reason for them making weed illegal is because the alcohol companies were worried about a potential new weed industry that might end up competing with them, so they lobbied to make it illegal under the excuses that it's a gateway drug, a stupid concept they made up on the spot. It's safer than alcohol though. It feels pretty normal for me to do it even though it is illegal. Gov. Criticism free speech violations in some parts of the world. I'ma be them balls gone all over the place. Drinking as an adult. I'm legally an adult at 18 and can be drafted into war but can't have a fucking beer? The enlistment age is kept low to get people dumb enough to do it. Not only that, but the draft age. They can force you to fight in a war before you can legally have a beer. In some parts of the world, filming the police when they are making an arrest. So much for free speech. America. I think that's actually legal in most states. I know in Oregon, the law is that people have to be notified or be reasonably aware or something like that they are being filmed, basically like pulling out your phone and holding it in a way you'd normally record someone. Except cops. Cops, you can hide that you're recording them. According to the laws on our books. It's legal in the U.S. because it's protected under the Constitution, even if a local law says it's illegal. Being an atheist. This illegal in my country. Where the hell do you live? The Vatican? Possibly anywhere in the Middle East or North Africa. The number of countries that have laws providing for the executions of atheists is a frighteningly long list. Till back in 2015, I worked with a customer based in the UAE, so I had to travel out there once a month for about a year. Before I started my assignment, one of my coworkers said I should tell people that I'm Christian. I grew up Episcopalian, but I've been agnostic atheist for the last 20 years. I just took their advice at face value and leaned into my religious childhood. Had no idea this could have been a life-death situation if the wrong person overheard. Same-sex marriage. Depends on where you are, obviously. War crimes. Crimes against humanity. I mean, I don't see the big deal. I do them BTW. You, sir, have just earned your place in the 501st. In some countries, being gay, adoption for gay couples, being trans, going to school as a woman, abortion. Eating beef. You can get arrested in my country if you're caught having beef and will be required to prove where you bought it. Only the government is allowed to sell it, not the common people. Funny that the law is harder against someone who kills a cow, up to 20 years in prison, versus someone who kills a fucking person. Some of them are out in 5 years. Is it Cuba or something? Yes. How did you know, lol? There's a guy from Cuba on YouTube, and he made a video about what it's like getting groceries there and explained the whole beef situation. Sounds rough. Buying food for homeless people. Most states in the US prohibit this, and it's so fucked. You can't be a good human being in America. If you're serving the public, and you have 2 bottles of the same liquor that are both partly drained, you cannot pour one into the other. This is called marrying bottles, and it is illegal in 50 states. Saying I'm going to kill you. Apparently, that is illegal, even though we say it to our siblings and our friends all the time. I guess the intent matters. Mushrooms. Drinking underage. This seems really weird to me. I live in Israel and children often get small amounts of wine since maybe the age of 5. A child of any age can drink so long as they're under the supervision of a parent or adult here, which I think is a much better system. In our particular flavor of this is that drinking is legal, but selling alcohol to a minor is a criminal offense. Smoke the devil's lettuce. Speeding. Even 1 mile over is technically illegal. Where I am, the flow of traffic is usually 10 plus over the limit anyway. So cops here tend to just ticket the people who are egregiously over or under the traffic flow. Having reproductive health care. Everyone here is on a list just because of one comment. Can you guess what it is? No, because Reddit removed it. At a red light, driving up around traffic on the right side, on the shoulder, just so you can turn right at the light or into a driveway. When you get ticketed, I laugh. Finding child porn and turning it over to the local police. That counts as distributing it and could, in theory, be charged as a felony. The only agency in the US that you can legally give suspected child porn to is the NCMEC. Not wearing a helmet. It's illegal here in India. In Florida it's illegal to tie an elephant to a parking meter, unless you pay the meter. Even if the elephant just sits on the sidewalk, you better pay the meter. It came about from Barnum and Bailey's circus. They started out in Florida and had a large number of elephants. They would tie them to parking meters. People would complain. Thus now elephants have to pay for parking. The movie bombed in airports. Taking someone's picture without permission. Seems totally logical, right? But imagine you're filming a school sports game. You have to get all the spectators, players, medics, permission. Hopia Act, South Africa, and a solution to this is put up a sign that says, please note that entering these premises permits the filming, photography and broadcasting on social media, and media outlets talk about a law that's there for a good reason, but then can be covered by one sign that invalidates that law. Book law is nonsense, really. Beating up assholes. Apparently it's illegal to punch a flag-waving neo-Nazi in the face. It is technically illegal to drive a black car on Sunday in Denver, Colorado. Old law that is still on the books. Being naked at the beach. When walking around outside or just hiking around to just unzip and pee. It is a natural function after all. Well, to a relative of mine who I accompanied to court, a joke with the phrase, "You still have my gun in your bag, right?" As we went through the scanners, I was mortified. So apologetic to the security people who seemed unimpressed with him but understanding towards me. No jokes about weapons in the courthouse. Literally read this backwards and was having a small stroke about all the illegal things people though were legal. Pirating movies, games. I don't remember any childhood game I bought. My friends used to have a copy and they used to fill it with games. Depending on the game. Small studios? No. Nintendo? Encouraged. Protecting yourself in your home. Well, at least in France. Here it's illegal to have your car windows tainted. It's illegal to fly a drone, and if someone other than specific branches of police or military flies one, it will be tracked immediately and the owner will be charged and arrested. Even on special events when a network or press wants to use a drone for recording an event, a permit is needed for authorized flying of the drone, but selling them seems to be fine. Drinking or possession of any alcoholic drinks is illegal. If someone is charged with possession of alcoholic drinks, depending on the amount of alcoholic drinks and his or priors, the court will sentence him to be imprisoned and will be fined heavily. If someone gets caught while being drunk and tested positive for alcohol, the cops will keep him locked up for the night, and the next day court will sentence him to be whipped 80 times plus according to the law if one person gets convicted with being drunk 4 times or more. The judge is at liberty to sentence him to death, but I have never heard of a judge exercising this. Anyway, due to the restrictions of drinking and the risk of getting caught by the cops, at least 75% of the people who are under 40 years old choose to drink while driving. Being on the move reduces the risk of getting arrested by 90%, but in return increases the risk of getting into an accident. Any form of homosexuality, bisexuality, or any other kind of sexuality which isn't heterosexuality is extremely illegal and strictly forbidden. Here, by the order of the law, people are only male and female who are only allowed to be attracted to the opposite sex. Only if someone is approved by the court to be needing a sex change operation until the surgery they may dress and act as the opposite sex. I have countless other crazy illegal things to mention, but I'm sure my phone's 93% will be emptied sooner than I'm finished typing them, so I only add one more. It is very illegal for me to be saying any of the things above anywhere, especially in an international discussion via a popular app which is being used all around the world, and if I get caught I'll be charged with spying for foreign enemies and being a political criminal and traitor and possibly being a spy. Then I will be sentenced to be imprisoned, and well, I really don't want to add to any possible punishment I can be sentenced.